just like to touch on a few things about the development of the adolescent brain. First, I'd like to start with the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision making, executive functioning, risky behavior and impulse control, social and emotional decision making. So, the development of the prefrontal cortex usually typically occurs between the ages of 12 to 25. There's a myth that the teenage brain stops growing at 18, some say even 16, but that is wrong. And our brains, we're still developing in the teenage years, and it's fully developed by the age of 25. The executive functioning part of the brain is responsible for evaluating risks, impulse control, making plans for the future. And this is why adolescents struggle a lot with these decisions. They are known for risk taking. Sometimes it's good, and most of the time it's bad. Impulse control. Adolescents have poor impulse control. This is around the time that they want to experience things with their friends, like maybe illegal substances, testing the waters with drugs, driving recklessly, and just taking risks that could endanger themselves. Social and emotional decision making. This is a time of adolescents wanting autonomy. That their strive for autonomy is very important at this stage in life. They want to make their own decisions and think that they're capable of it. It's socially driven by peers, and they have a lot of emotional responses and reasoning to why they want to make their own decisions. Around this time, peer influence is very, very strong. But it's been proven that their cognitive and emotional growth in the prefrontal cortex is not fully matured until the mid-20s. So they genuinely struggle with all of these points: decision making, long-term planning, emotional regulation, and so forth. I'd like to also talk about hormones and the adolescent brain. It's a time of testosterone, high testosterone, risk-taking. Hormones play an important role in shaping the adolescent brain, and it influences both their mood and their behavior. And this is a time of puberty, the onset of puberty, where their sex hormones start to develop, and estrogen in girls and testosterone in boys plays a significant role at this stage in life. They tend to be very moody around this time. They're full of anxiety, sadness, irritability. The women, they experience menstruation. A lot of anxiety and moodiness can come with it. So emotional regulation is another part of the development of the brain. Their hormones are acting up, as we say. Social and emotional hormonal effects. Hormonal changes also affect how adolescents perceive the world and social interactions. This is a time of intense peer approval. Their friends become more important to them than family. This is where they want to spend a lot of time with friends, and friends seem to have a huge influence over their lives. And it's because of their hormones. It's completely amplified during this time. So it can also be very stressful for the family unit. Emotional regulation. The limbic system and the amygdala. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but the amygdala, okay, part of the brain's emotional center where they process emotions such as pleasure, fear, anger. They're very susceptible to emotional stimuli at this point. Everything is heightened. So yeah, they may have, this can lead to emotional outbursts or mood swings. That's why teenagers tend to be very moody and they're unable to regulate the emotional responses to stimuli, their environment or people around them. Some parents might say that they don't know how to deal with their moods. They're always overreacting. They spend a lot of time in their room. It's all a phase. It's important to develop emotional resilience at this point in a teenager's life and teach them good coping mechanisms. You have to teach them how to pause and reflect about certain things to regulate their emotions. Teach them good self-care tips about, how to stabilize their mind, going for a walk, going for a massage, taking a weekend trip away, spending time with friends that they enjoy, friends that have their back and who make good choices. My next point I'd like to talk about is sleep and the adolescent brain. Sleep plays a crucial role in the development. It contributes to your emotional and cognitive well-being. There's something called the circadian rhythm, and adolescents are known to sleep more. And why is this? Some of you might have heard from your parents that you're sleeping a lot or you sleep too much. They struggle with waking up early, but they tend to go to bed much later at night. And this is because of the circadian rhythm shift in the adolescent brain. Sleep is important for problem solving, cognitive functioning, decision making. And during sleep, the adolescent brain grows very rapidly during sleep. So sleep during the teenage years, it's definitely not a bad thing. And lack of sleep can also lead to mental health problems like increased risky behavior, anxiety, depression, and a whole lot of other comorbid disorders. So, yeah, the adolescent brain, it's very complex, and it's a time of rapid growth internally and externally, because that part of their brain is responsible for, like I said before, sleep patterns, hormonal changes, emotional regulation. It could be a time of high conflict within the family dynamic, or if parents have the right tools to help their teenagers navigate through this critical period. It doesn't always have to be volatile and stressful in the home. With the right tools and the right skills, and if there's problems in the home with communication, there's also counseling or therapy that the family can turn to. So it's important to foster a healthy brain development by taking care of yourself. Good nutrition, exercise. Exercise is a form of medicine, believe it or not. It's a form of medicine for depression and anxiety, and it can help you cope. It can help. It's a great coping mechanism for a lot of things in life. Exercise. So it's important to take care of your health and take care of your brain, because at the end of the day, that's all we have. Your health is your wealth.
So, following with Chris's slides, we're going to be looking at parenting styles and the outcomes. So, we have three different parenting styles: authoritative parenting, permissive parenting, and authoritarian parenting. So, with authoritative parenting, we're looking at a balance between warmth and structure. In this case, parents are setting clear expectations while also being responsive and supportive. With this parenting style, we have been consistently associating it with positive development outcomes in children, including higher academic achievements, better social skills, emotional regulation, and self confidence. Because of the warmth in this parenting style, it fosters a sense of security and support, while the structure provides clear boundaries that help these children learn responsibility and self discipline. Often, children raised in this environment are more resilient and can better navigate challenges. On the other hand, we have permissive parenting style, which is high in warmth but low in structure. So, while these parents are loving and nurturing, they tend to avoid setting firm rules or enforcing consistent discipline. And as a result of this, children in this permissive households may have more freedom to explore, but often lack the guidance needed in order to understand that there are limits and boundaries. So, in many cases, this can lead to increased risk taking behaviors such as substance use or delinquency, as children may not develop a strong sense of self regulation or an understanding of the consequences of their actions. And lastly, we have authoritarian parenting, which is opposite of permissive parenting, which is emphasizing high structure with little warmth. So, in this sense, parents in this category are often strict and demanding, with less responsive to their children's emotional needs. So, while these parents do maintain control and enforce discipline, their lack of warmth can negatively affect a child's self esteem. So, in this case, many children raised with this type of parenting style follow the rules and will perform well in structured environments, but they're also going to struggle with anxiety, lower self worth, and difficulties in developing autonomy. So, this focus of obedience and control may suppress their abilities to express themselves or develop strong interpersonal skills. In the next two slides, we'll be looking at two shows that show the different type of parenting styles. For slides 5, Shameless, I will have my peer Rochelle explain to you the different parenting styles focused on in that episode. I, on the other hand, will have you guys watch Modern Family, which is season 3, episode 20. And we have a question there that you guys can use along as you're watching the video or the episode, and where you can watch it. So in this little space, you can kind of just cut it out, and Rochelle is going to explain Shameless, and then I'll just go on to Modern Family. So for side 7, we're going to see the importance of parenting styles in Modern Family. So if you guys have watched the episode, you guys know that it revolves around 3 different families. Well, the same family, just 3 different groups, I guess. So with Phil and Claire, we're showing a balance between fun and boundaries. So Claire, on one hand, is very protective, while Phil, on the other hand, knows to trust his kids. So both these parenting styles show the importance of being able to set rules and be supportive while having that connection with their daughter. Mitchell and Cameron, we're showing that parenting is still a learning process no matter what. So that being nurturing is reflective of the permissive side needed in order to set boundaries, or more consistent boundaries at least. And lastly, we have Jay and Gloria. So Gloria shows that she very much praises Manny, while Jay, on the other hand, is firm. And throughout the episode, Jay learns that it's okay to be a tough love guy, but he needs to show emotional intelligence from time to time when Manny's going through his time of need. Next up, we're going to be looking at effective communication with adolescents. So there are 4 important points that we want to touch on when it comes to this. We want to be able to listen actively and empathetically, validate their emotions and experiences, set clear boundaries and expectations, and encourage open and honest communication. So when we're listening actively and empathetically, it involves our full attention in order to make an effort to understand not only the content of what they're saying, but also the emotions behind their words. So it requires a setting aside of distractions, being able to maintain eye contact and respond with affirmations that show that you are actually engaged with them. Empathy genuinely goes such a long way when hearing words. It means that you're acknowledging their feelings and demonstrating that you care about their perspective, even if you don't necessarily agree. So there are very much different key aspects going into this. You have nonverbal cues, which means nodding your head, facial expressions, and being able to maintain an open posture signal that you're engaged. There's paraphrasing, which is basically summarizing what they've said in order to ensure that you're understanding correctly. And there are also emotionally attunement, which is picking up emotional signals and responding appropriately to them. Next up, we have validating their emotions and experiences. In doing so, we're acknowledging and accepting someone's emotions, regardless of whether you feel the same way. That doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but rather show that their feelings and experiences are real and it's important. By validating this, you're conveying that their emotions are legitimate and helping them feel heard and respected. Some key strategies include affirming phrases such as saying, "I can see why you feel that way," or "that must be difficult," can go a long way in making someone feel understood. Avoiding judgment, refraining from minimizing or dismissing their feelings goes a long way as well. It makes them feel like what they're saying isn't pointless. And then we have contextualizing their experiences, so showing awareness of the background and factors that may have led to their current emotions. We also want to be able to set clear boundaries and expectations. So in doing so, this helps maintain a healthy relationship, whether it's personal or professional. It involves communicating your limits and needs while respecting others as well. Boundaries protect emotional well-being and prevent misunderstandings, which help in establishing a foundation of mutual respect. So some key aspects in this is consistency. So you want to be able to uphold these boundaries you set to avoid mixed messages and respect their boundaries as well. In this case, it encourages mutual understanding of personal limits. Lastly, we have encouraging open and honest communication. While fostering an environment where open and honest communication is welcomed, it encourages transparency and trust. When people feel that they can express themselves without fear of judgment, it leads to more effective problem solving and deeper connections and healthier relationships as well. Some key elements we want to touch bases are on creating a safe space. In this case, it ensures that others feel safe expressing their thoughts without fear of criticism. asking open ended questions. It allows for a deeper exploration of discussion and offering reassurance. It makes it clear that their honesty is valued and respected. By being able to apply these principles, you can foster a lot healthier and more productive relationships by and being able to ensure a mutual respect and understanding overall.
Building resilience in adolescence. Allow teens to make decisions and learn from their mistakes, fostering self resilience and confidence. Create a safe space for open communication, helping teens process emotions and build emotional intelligence. Encourage goal setting and celebrate efforts, teaching them the value of hard work and patience. Encourage healthy friendship and family bonds, which offer essential support during tough times. Teach the importance of maintaining physical, mental, and emotional well being to handle adversity better. Balancing independence and guidance. Giving teens responsibilities such as household chores, allowing them to start solving more serious problems on their own, and giving them the ability to create their appropriate daily schedule can gradually increase independence, encourage decision making and problem solving, supporting adolescent mental health. Monitor for signs of stress, encourage open communication, foster positive self talk and self care, reduce stigma around mental health, and seek professional help when needed. A parent's mental health can also deeply affect a child. According to a study conducted by Harvard University, depressed teens are about 5 times more likely than non depressed teens to have a depressed parent, and anxious teens are about 3 times more likely than non anxious teens to have an anxious parent. Nurturing a strong parent teen relationship. Encourage honest and non judgmental conversation, allowing teens to express themselves freely. Pay attention to their thoughts and feelings without interrupting or offering immediate solutions, showing that you value their opinions. Acknowledge and support your teens' growing sense of identity, allowing them to make their own choices when appropriate. Establish consistent rules and expectations, but also be flexible and willing to negotiate as your teen matures. Validate their emotion and struggles, offering comfort and support when needed. Exhibit behaviors you want your teen to emulate, such as kindness, responsibility, and resilience. These practices help build trust, respect, and emotional closeness between parent and teens, fostering a healthier relationship.